Ready?
All right, my next guest is someone I met in the fantasy community a while back. I've always enjoyed interacting with him. He's a fantasy football guy, the host of Talking Sports with Manny podcast. He's the host of the Back Row Redskin show. My man loves football, but he loves sports in general. That's Manny Chokuba. Manny, how are you, man? Thank you for coming on, brother.
Man, I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for the invite, man.
No, absolutely, man. I was looking for a Washington football team fan. Not many of those in the fantasy community, but
Absolutely.
as soon as I was like, I gotta find one, I knew exactly who I was going to, and that was you, Manny. So I'm glad you were able to make time to come on the show, man.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate it, man. I'm passionate about those football teamers.
Yeah, right. We'll we'll see how long they keep that name, but uh,
Ah,
however long they keep it, we do know that Ron Rivera is the head man in charge, led by a strong defense and a weak NFC East last year. They went to a 7-9 record, which was enough to win first place in the NFC East. They got a quarterback upgrade supposedly with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
mhm.
They made upgrades at wide receiver both through free agency and the NFL draft. And Ron Rivera and this new look Washington football team front office, they look like they're really building something over there. Vegas has them with an a win total at 8. What are
Mhm.
your expectations? What are the expectations amongst the fan base for the Washington football team heading in 2021?
I mean, you said it perfectly with a new front office, essentially, building through the draft and free agency, and not only just building through free agency, building smartly. So we're out here spending wisely. Instead of paying a Kenny Galladay 18 to 20 million, you get a Curtis Samuel for about 11 to 12. Just smarter. So I'm expecting at least 10 wins, because if you go 7 wins without a team, like we had guys that nobody knew last year, like the Logan Thomases of the world, the JD McKissick's. I mean, to be honest, the roster was terrible coming into the season. So now that we're getting some guys that are quality players, especially on the offensive side of the ball, I'm expecting 10 wins, no less than 10. I mean, you play to win the game, right? You don't play just to play it, like Herm Edwards always says. So I'm expecting us to be at least 10 wins. The last time I seen 10 wins with this squad was when I became a fan in 1999. So with an extra game, we have 17 games now. You can't tell me that we can't get 10. So 10-7 is the goal. That's the goal.
Hey man, I think it's definitely doable. I mean, I looked at year one under Ron Rivera. He had said it perfectly at one point. He's got to teach these guys how to win, and they learned how to win. They won a division title. Ended up going to a playoff game against the Bucks, which, to be honest, if their quarterback situation was a little bit better, they had more than a puncher's chance. And if some of the guys were healthy, but again, going back to the quarterback position, you play to win the game. That's how you
Mhm.
make friends with the host. You reference a coach from his favorite football team, the New York Jets.
For
But you
sure.
play to win the game. You upgrade at quarterback. Even if it's a slight upgrade, you're still trying to maximize your wins, get to that
Hmm.
10-win number. And
Right.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, while he has not had much success in the
Mhm.
win column, he has definitely put seasons together where makes you think that he can definitely be the upgrade that the Washington football team is looking for. Now playing for his eighth NFL team, he comes over from Miami where he's in a tough situation with Tua,
Mhm.
who Miami had obviously invested the number 5 overall pick in him. But he was the better player in
He
Washington.
was.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You look at how even at points in the Raiders game they have
Mhm.
to bring him in to give them some juice. I mean, Washington
Yep.
clearly thinks that he has something left in the tank at
Mhm.
38 years old. In 7 starts last year, averaged nearly 20 fantasy points per game, which at that pace would have been a top 12 quarterback. Currently going off the board is the QB 21. Does Fitz present a value here, leading to some Fitz magic, or will it be a Fitz tragic situation here?
I think it's a major upgrade. Did you see who the quarterbacks were last year? You had Dwayne Haskins. We're not going to talk about where he went and what he did and how he played. You had Alex Smith. He had one good leg. Lord bless his soul. I've never been an Alex Smith fan. He's just a check down, Charlie. He's just a check down guy. And that's the reason why J.D. McKissick was number 2 in receptions for running backs. Okay. So that's not by design. That was Alex Smith. Okay. Then you had Kyle Allen. He played like 2 games and a half or something like that. And then he's out for the season. So, then you had Taylor Heineke, who gave us 5 good quarters of football. So when you look at the collection, we had 4 quarterbacks, 4. And, a couple of them was, a couple were good, a couple were bad, So bringing in a Ryan Fitzpatrick, here's what I'm seeing out of Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's going to be a guy that Scott Turner runs that air Coryell. He's going to be able to throw that ball down the middle. So you're going to see different guys go through the middle. You're going to see guys go deep. We saw what happened when Fitzpatrick was last in Tampa Bay with Deshaun Jackson. And you saw Deshaun Jackson come back to life. Okay. I'm not going to jump ahead of ourselves, but we're going to get into a guy that I think is going to be a monster this season that nobody knows about. Everybody's sleeping on this guy right now. I'm scooping up this guy in dynasty startups. We're going to get to him in a minute, but Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to air the ball out. Now, with the good comes the bad. He's a guy that I like him because when you're losing, he's going to give you all he has. He's going to air it out. He's going to give you a chance to win. But I don't think that it's like the game is not going to be in his hands to like, hey, win us games. You have a good defense. You have a good running back. So it's just Ryan Fitzpatrick. Just give us enough. And if he gives us enough, we'll be fine. And if that defense is creating turnovers and giving us second chances to pursue points, we'll be fine, regardless of how many interceptions Ryan Fitzpatrick throws. The end goal is win the turnover margin. And if you win the turnover margin, you'll be fine. If Fitzpatrick throws 5 picks, let's just go ahead and get 4 fumble recoveries and 2 interceptions and, even that out. But, yeah, that's my take on Fitzpatrick. I think he's going to be a major upgrade. I see him around 3,700 yards, maybe 4,000. But if it's 4,000, that means that we're losing some games. So I'm looking at 3,600, 3,700, maybe about 26, 27 touchdowns and about 13 picks. That's kind of where I see Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that's a major upgrade. If you look at the stats from last year of what the quarterbacks did for us. So yeah, I'll take Fitzpatrick any day.
Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick definitely. Again, we're talking about a team which they had a formula in place, which was play good defense, run the football, don't turn the ball over, and they can do that. Mm-hmm. They can. Ryan Fitzpatrick, as you said, he can get wild and it could look bad sometimes, but if you put him in a situation where you insulate him with a good offensive line, good run game, playmakers around him, he doesn't have to do too much. Then maybe you have a situation here where Ryan Fitzpatrick, you get Fitzmagic for most of the season. But a guy it's gonna have to come down to for that to happen is Antonio Gibson. And so Gibson's a player, here in Fantasy Football Diagnostics, we were very high on, and he rewarded us handsomely, finishing as the RB18 in PPR fantasy points per game. A lot of that was due to 11 rushing touchdowns, which he put up, and he put up down the stretch, major performances. I think that Thursday night, that Thanksgiving game against Dallas sticks out tremendously, where he had 3 rushing touchdowns. But it seems like Washington was gaining more trust in Gibson to be that workhorse type back. Obviously you mentioned J.D. McKissick siphoning some of those passing down targets, but hopefully in year 2, we see Antonio Gibson take that extra step and be the true 3-down back, because it's not really a question of if he can catch the football. We know the pedigree as a former wide receiver, but more of a question is will Washington lean on him to do that? So he's going off the board as the RB15. How confident are you, Manny, that he can outproduce that ADP?
I think he can. And I just dropped a video today comparing the rookie year of Antonio Gibson to the rookie year of Christian McCaffrey. The video I dropped on YouTube today was inspired by Victoria, under FFB_Victoria. She's great. She's a Buffalo fan, but she's in the fantasy community and drops tons of nuggets. So when she gave me this stat, I put it to the side and I said, you know what, I'm going to drop a video. So Christian McCaffrey and Antonio Gibson was obviously coached by Ron Rivera. And Scott Turner, they love to use their running backs a certain way. They love to use their running backs as receivers and running backs. And when you look at everything that Christian McCaffrey did compared to Antonio Gibson, CMC first year, 197 touches. Gibson, 206. But a lot of those was from running the ball. He didn't even really get to receive the ball, and that's okay because he's a wide receiver learning to play running back, right? So you look at that, and a lot of us, either drafted him or had him stashed just in case something happens. And for those of us who stashed him, we won. At the end of the year, he was, RB1 tons and tons of weeks. So when you look at the yards from scrimmage, they are very similar. Christian McCaffrey's 1,086 to Gibson's 1,042. When you look at the total touchdowns, this guy is a goal line monster. So you're not worried about being vultured. On top of that, Washington has not done anything to bring in anybody who's going to take away touches. Jared Patterson, I love him. I'm stashing him everywhere. Grab this guy, save him just in case of that toe injury on Antonio Gibson. They're saying that he's recovering. He had that toe injury that kind of took him out last year. He's recovering. I think he's going to be full form by the time the season starts. But when you look at the running back room, there is nobody out there to take touches away. Peyton Barber might not even be on the roster. He's just good for that goal line or that 1 yard carry, that 2 yard carry that you need. So when you look at everything, if J.D. McKissic's work is cut in half, you are looking at Antonio Gibson being a top 7 running back this year. Under my video, I had people posting 1,200 yards rushing, and that's very doable in a 17-game season if he's healthy, right? I've seen people say 50 receptions, about 500 yards receiving. That's very, very possible in this offense. They want to use him like Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, he's not Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is a whole different breed, but he can get to that kind of level with confidence. So, I'm definitely seeing Antonio Gibson as a guy that can be a top 12 running back this year in fantasy and in real life.
No, definitely. Love AG, man. 1,200 rushing yards. That's not really the question for me. The question really for me isn't if he's capable of being a pass catcher, right? It's not like, there's this, it's not like Jonathan Taylor where it's like he can't, right. We have questions, not that Jonathan Taylor can't, but we have more questions about his ability versus in Nyheim Hines where it just doesn't make sense to take him off the field. Right. In favor of Nyheim Hines, but in terms of Antonio Gibson, he played wide receiver in college.
Yeah, he did.
This guy can catch the football. So I think the things are maybe pass protection. How comfortable is he with that? Because that's one thing.
That's true.
As fantasy managers, we don't really think about, right? We just think, oh, guy's athletic. He can catch the football. Make him your 3-down back. He's 220 pounds, but we have to realize this guy doesn't have a ton of reps IDing protections and standing in there as a pass protector. So the question for me is going to be the receptions. I'd feel way more comfortable if J.D. McKissic just wasn't on the roster. I'd just say, sign me up.
Right.
Let's do it. But one guy whose role we do not have to question, that is Terry McLaurin, F1, Scary Terry, even though he doesn't really like that name.
Right.
But probably one of our favorite players on this show. Terry finished as the wide receiver 20 last year, 87 catches, just over 1,100 yards, 4 touchdowns on 134 targets. Probably lower expectations than I personally had for him. I had Terry as like a top 15 wide receiver going into last year. Seems like everyone's expecting that this year with the upgrade at quarterback and the added weapons around him to give him more room to operate. He can take another step forward going off the board as the wide receiver 12. Will fantasy managers feel good about that investment by the end of the year?
Absolutely. And matter of fact, I just dropped a Terry prediction because the Washington football team, they had these these pictures. I don't know if you've seen it. Fitzpatrick holding something up and then Terry holding something up. So then the football team said, hey, fans, we're going to clear it. We're going to make it plain. You guys just go ahead and have fun with it. So I posted a picture of Terry McLaurin holding that same sign, and I had 93 receptions. I had 1,400 yards plus, 1,465 to be exact, and 8 touchdowns. The reason why I was modest on the touchdowns is because I don't know if we're going to be needing a lot of touchdowns to win games this year. I mean, I don't know. Based on how well the defense play, you're not expecting to be airing the ball out when you're winning, right? You want to run the ball. So, but what I do see is if you look at Ryan Fitzpatrick, every wide receiver that he's ever had, he's made that wide receiver a top tier, top 7, top 8 guy. I mean, you look at Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker's a bum. I'm sorry. He's not good. Okay? He's not good. But look what he did with Devontae Parker 2 years ago, the last 8 games. Remarkable. You take those numbers and double it. Terry can have a phenomenal season. And now with the help of a Curtis Samuel, who's going to play some running back, by the way, just putting that out there. And, what's his name? De'Ami Brown and, Adam Humphries. So you have better quality wide receivers to take some pressure away from Terry. So I see him having a big season. I mean, he can push 100 catches this year. I'm not trying to be a homer or, I'm just so hyped. He can have 100 catches because if he's going to get, let's say, you said he had 135 targets last year?
134. Yeah.
Okay, this year he's going to have close to 150, if not more, just because Fitzpatrick, we know who Fitzpatrick is. And when he gets locked in on a wide receiver, he gets locked in. So I'm expecting the targets to go up. Mind you, I think Terry missed 1 or 2 games last year. I think he missed 2 games, and that really hurt his numbers. So he was supposed to be a lock for 1,200 yards minimum. I had him for 1,400 yards last year, and, it was just the injury that kind of took him out. And, teams double, triple teaming this guy. He played with 4 quarterbacks. So, I mean, think about it. This guy is quarterback proof. He reminds me a lot of Allen Robinson or DeAndre Hopkins. Yes, that's high praise, but that's just how good Terry is. Look what he did his rookie year with Case Keenum and Dwayne Haskins. I mean, come on, man. The guy's had 7 quarterbacks, in 2 years, and not one of those quarterbacks are anything even close to what Ryan Fitzpatrick is. I'm expecting a big season. I want to say 1,500 yards, but that's just asking for too much. That's like if we only had limited weapons on offense. I think it's going to be a well-rounded offense, but I see Terry McLaurin having 1 or 2 big, humongous games that shoots his numbers up, regardless of what he does, the rest of the season. So
yeah, I mean the secondaries in the NFC East still lacking a little bit. So Terry's still got that reasonable schedule on his side. The only thing with Terry, last year I was really high on him because there was nobody else to throw the football to. This year they do have some talent, so that's my only question. Do they need to force him the football as much when you have guys like Curtis Samuel? And
look, let me tell you something. They're not going to have to force him the ball because he's going to be so wide open, okay? It's going to be 1-on-1. And you put a guy like Trevon Diggs from Dallas on this guy, he's going to eat that guy alive, man. We're talking 15 catches. We're talking 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, he's that good. Coming into the draft, I felt that Terry McLaurin was the crispiest route runner. Him, second was A.J. Brown. And A.J. Brown's a beast. You know what I'm saying? DK Metcalf, physical abilities. They're playing with better quarterbacks. But this guy, I'm telling you, he's going to be so wide open. Who do you double? Who do you double? Everybody on that offense, including Antonio Gibson, runs like a high 4.3, 4.4. So you're gonna see speed. And another thing, people don't realize that Terry is a deep threat. He's a deep threat. But the reason why you didn't see him go deep last year was because they didn't have the quarterbacks that can get it to him. But that first game of his career versus the Eagles, when this guy caught like a 70-yard bomb. He should have had 2 70-yard bombs, but the quarterback couldn't get him the ball on the second time, or he overthrew him, or he would have had 150 yards his very first game in the NFL. So he's a burner. He has the speed. He runs crispy routes. So you don't really look at him as a deep threat, but he is. I'm telling you, that speed he is. So he's going to have a big, big season. Like I said, he's going to have 2 or 3 monster games that's going to shoot his stats up there. Crazy. So don't worry about, where do I get Terry? In startups, if you can get this guy in the 3rd round, that's a steal. If you can get this guy in the 4th round, that's a super steal. I don't see him going past the 4th round. He's just that good.
Yeah, no, Terry's an absolute monster. Love Terry, love everything he's done so far in his career, and excited to see what he'll continue to do. Moving on to the other wide receivers, though, you touched on Curtis Samuel a little bit, and you took the words right out of my mouth. I do believe Curtis Samuel plays some running back, because when you look at the like you were saying earlier, and I didn't want to touch on it because I was waiting until we got to Curtis Samuel, but you touched on it already. If you look around the roster, it's like the next person best suited, if anything were to happen to Antonio Gibson to get touches, would be Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel. Position flex. Ron Rivera preaches position flex. If you can't play two positions, you're not on the roster. That's just how he rolls. So you're going to see some guys like Antonio Gandy Golden or Kelvin Harmon get cut. One of those two guys might get cut. One of those two guys might go to the practice squad, because if you don't play special teams and catch the ball, or if you don't, you got to be able to do two things to be on the roster. Ron Rivera likes to be prepared. He doesn't like games. He doesn't like not having players that are healthy, willing to play. So you got to be able to do two things to be on this roster. And I'm telling you, you're going to see formations where you see, Curtis Samuel in the backfield. You're going to see J.D. McKissick in the slot. You're going to see Antonio Gibson split out wide. And you're going to say, what the heck is going on? And you're going to see motions. You're going to see jet sweeps. And you're going to just be confused. So the offense is going to be pretty, pretty fun to watch this year. And I'm ready for it. You're going to also see some Wildcats. You're going to see, I'm telling you right now, I was talking to Scott Turner on the phone. He told me not to reveal this, but just for you on your show, I'm gonna share this with you. I'm telling you right now, you're gonna see some Wildcat with Curtis Samuel, and it's gonna be pretty, pretty sick this season.
Well, I'm glad that you could share, some information from your sources over there in Washington. But no, man, I like what you're saying. The versatility is awesome. I think those are the best kinds of football teams. I'm trying to make, I'm on hashtag normalize positionless football. It's got to become a thing.
Yes, sir.
But Curtis Samuel finishes the wide receiver 27 last year, going off the board as wide receiver 39. I think the added boost and the potential that he has as a potential, I guess, handcuff to Antonio Gibson adds some upside there. And then you look at Dyami Brown, who they added in the draft, I think fills this outside presence opposite Terry that they didn't really have. And I think it also frees up Curtis Samuel to do some more of the stuff that we've been talking about.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, and Adam Humphries as well. I think those two guys allows Curtis Samuel to just basically be freelance, a wild card, just go wherever we need you that
exactly.
Week, so, I think, Dyami Brown added in the third round. He's a speedster with good size. I saw him get comped to Terry McLaurin, I think, on draft day, which I thought was very interesting. He's going up the board as a wide receiver 90, but does he present a value to you? I think you were alluding to him earlier.
Look, yeah, this is the guy I was talking about that is gonna be an eye opener. I'm snagging him everywhere in startups and rookie drafts. Like, nobody is looking at Dyami Brown, and just because I'm a homer, I know what he brings to the table. I'm stashing this guy. You might not see his full potential this season, but you're definitely going to see it next season. Adam Humphries is on a 1-year deal. So based off of how the offense is lined up on the field, you can have 4 wide receiver sets. You can have 5 wide receiver sets in an empty backfield. That's why you brought Fitzpatrick here. He's going to survey the field, and within 2 seconds, he's going to fling that ball. So when you have a burner in Dyami Brown, and you tell him, go. You tell Logan Thomas, go across the middle. You tell this guy, run the wheel route. It's going to be so amazing. I think that Dyami Brown can compete on this team for top 3 targets. So he's a guy that you want to get late, especially in Dynasty. In redraft, you're pushing your own luck. But specifically in Dynasty, you want to get this guy. I think he's going in the 3rd round in rookie draft. So that's very great. That's great value for a guy that's wide receiver 90. He's going to outplay that. He's probably going to end up anywhere between wide receiver 50, 45-ish, in that range. And I'm telling you, as he gets comfortable, as the season goes on, that's when you're really going to see this guy. He has all the tools. He's a weapon. I was watching some training camp stuff today, and this guy's lightning quick. And he runs some pretty good routes. So he's going to be a guy that grows with this team. And like I said, when he's out there, opposite Terry, then you have Curtis Samuel in the slot, which opens up more for this guy. So you're going to have a safety over the top because if not, he's going to take the top off the defense, and Terry can do the same. So I'm excited for that trio, but that's going to be a trio that you're going to see more so next season. This season, if Adam Humphries is in the game, then Curtis Samuel is on the outside, opposite to Terry. So that wide receiver number 2, it's gonna change from game to game. I can't really just say, oh, this guy is gonna be the wide receiver 2. But in terms of the wide receiver 2, it's Curtis Samuel right now. But in terms of production, it can be any one of those 3 guys outside of Terry. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be game to game, and they're going to ride that hot hand.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on. Somebody we know will definitely be in conversation for a top target on this team. That is Logan Thomas. Had quite the breakout year at 29 years old.
Mm-hmm.
The former fourth-round quarterback made an impact in his 4th year at the tight end position. A lot of it had to do with opportunity, but as J.J. Zacharyson, late-round quarterback, would say, targets are earned, and he was 3rd at the tight end position in that category behind Kelsey and Waller. Thomas finished as the tight end 5 in fantasy points per game behind the 4 usual suspects. He's currently going off the board as the tight end 9, which tight end ADP, again, could be all over the place, but still he's going off the board as a tight end 1. Is he fool's gold or as we head into 2021, or is he legit?
Oh, he's legit. He's legit. And the funny thing is, I did a dynasty startup with some guys, and it was a super flex and tight end premium, right? So I went with the 0 quarterback. I mean, this is crazy. I went with the 0 quarterback rule and the 0 tight end rule. So I end up with guys like Jimmy Garoppolo and Teddy Bridgewater and Andy Dalton before the draft, before free agency, and it was looking good. It's not looking good now in terms of my quarterbacks, but my tight end, the first tight end I selected after it's a 4 flex league as well. So that's a lot of positions, right? But tell me why I was able to fix all my wide receivers, all my running backs, all my 4 flexes, and I was able to get Logan Thomas like in the, I don't know, 14th round. That's a ton of value in the tight end premium league. Logan Thomas is being disrespected. He was tight end 5, like you said. He produced some big games towards the end of the season last year, like lots of double-digit target games and 10 reception games here and there, 9 reception game here, 7 there. So he's gonna be a huge part of the offense because in the Air Coryell, it's all about that tight end across the middle. Think Greg Olsen. I'm not saying that he's Greg Olsen, but he's going to be used like a Greg Olsen. You know what I'm saying? And what makes me so comfortable about Logan Thomas this year is that the football team did nothing spectacular at tight end to take away targets from Logan Thomas. The only way Logan Thomas loses targets is if De'Ami Brown just explodes and becomes another Terry. Then it's kind of like, okay, you got to feature 2 guys on the outside. But he's going to compete for top 3 targets. I think he's going to be number 2 in targets. I just see it. Outside of Terry, he might be number 2, and then one of the running backs or wide receivers end up 3. This guy's going to eat up the middle of the field. It's going to be open for him. Logan Thomas is not a guy that gets open on his own. He was schemed to open. So same thing is going to happen here. It's just the kind of offense that we run. Tight ends are meant to go across the middle and get nice chunks of yards. So yeah, I'm seeing Logan Thomas as a guy that can get about 65 to 70 balls. We're talking 600 to 700 yards, which is nice for a tight end outside of the top 4 suspects. And then, if he gets anywhere between 3 to 5, maybe 7 touchdowns, you got to steal. If you get 7 touchdowns, you're talking about a top 4 tight end again this year. So no, Logan Thomas is the real deal, and I expect tons of targets. People see the weapons that are coming in and saying it's going to take away from Logan Thomas. I think the opposite. This is only going to help Logan Thomas. He's going to be too wide open. And he has decent hands. So outside of Logan Thomas, you have John Bates, a rookie that we drafted in the 5th round, blocking tight end. We just picked up Ricky Seals-Jones. He might be a nice, decent tight end too for the team, but he's not taking away targets from Logan Thomas. And then you have Simmons Reyes, who was built in the lab, a guy that played basketball in Tulane, so he doesn't even know how to play tight end. So this just bodes well for Logan Thomas. Buy low because he's cheap right now.
No, definitely. I mean, 29 years old. going to turn 30 later this year.
Mhm.
You know, people think that that's old, but again, you got to remember this is a guy that's only played tight end for 4 years.
Exactly.
He's only really, I mean, he's played quarterback before that, so it's not
Mhm.
like he has a ton of tread on his tires in terms of
Exactly.
expecting getting hit and things like that. And then you got to remember the tight end position ages differently than other positions as
It does.
well. So guys, you know, we've seen guys playing well into their 30s, and so I think
And sorry to cut you off. He's
no.
also in his contract year. This is the last year of his 2-year contract. So come on, man. You know he's trying to stick around in the league. You know he's trying to get top tier money. He's supposed to be a Pro Bowler last year, right? They messed him up. This year, I'm telling you, he's gonna go off because he wants to get paid. He wants to get paid like a top 7 tight end, and that's what I'm hearing from the front office. He wants to get paid like a top 7 tight end, so he has to go out there and produce again to get paid.
Yeah, I mean, and definitely Ryan Fitzpatrick targets his tight ends as well. We saw Mike
Mm-hmm.
Gesicki last year, and we saw OJ Howard or OJ Howard and Cameron Brate
Yep.
in Tampa Bay. Even Austin Seferian Jenkins here with the
Mm-hmm.
Jets got some
Yep.
targets. So Fitzpatrick at the tight end position and the tight end position tend to get along well. So Manny, you know, this has been great, but before we let you go, one more question for you. I need an NFC East prediction. Where does the Washington football team fit? I feel like I know the answer already, but I need you. I need to hear the guests need to hear it. I mean, all the listeners need to hear it. Where is the Washington football team finishing? Who's going to be first place in this division?
Washington football team is going to finish first. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. They have the best defense in the league. Dallas, they can't even cover me if I'm lined up out there. So their defense is terrible. The Giants, they have really good defense, but it's like Daniel Apple Pie Turnover Jones. I don't know what he's going to give you on the field. So look, I can't vouch for Daniel Jones. He has all the weapons in the world. I can't vouch for him. That's the only. I think they're more of a competition than the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys are going to be scoring, and it's going to be great for fantasy. And then you got the Eagles, the little brothers. You know, the little bro coming in fourth. They're playing, they're rebuilding. You know, they're stacking first round picks after first round picks. So when you look at it, it's Washington in the defense. If Fitzpatrick can do what he does, we win that division easily. You got Giants coming in number 2, Dallas coming in number 3, and then you have the Philadelphia Eagles coming in number 4.
Well, there you have it. Washington football team, according to Manny, going to win the NFC East. And hey, they won it last year, got a quarterback upgrade, so definitely not a bad bet to make. Manny, definitely appreciate you coming on, man. Why don't you tell all the people where they can find you, what you got going on, and how they can get to your content?
Absolutely. So you guys can follow me at Manny Chokuba on Twitter. You guys, and the Chokuba is spelled Chokuba. You guys can follow me at TS with Manny. That's the Talking Sports with Manny Twitter page that leads you to the YouTube channel, which is going bananas right now. So the YouTube channel, I also have a podcast, the Back Row Redskins Show, but you can follow me at Back Row Redskins. So what happens is I put all my Back Row Redskins stuff, or just put more Redskins content or Washington football content on the on the YouTube page, and it's turned into a Washington football YouTube channel. I mean, the subscribers is going up. I'm having videos that are hitting 5K views. I mean, I'm having like 100 comments and likes. And so it's turning into a Washington football channel because I'm telling you, Washington fans are the best. They're the best. They support anything. Like I do Washington, I do Talking Sports with Manny podcast. Then I do like a Washington podcast. The Washington podcast has like 3 times the amount of listeners just because the fans are just so passionate. So definitely check out the YouTube channel. I got fantasy football. I got NFL, NBA. Don't got no hockey or baseball, so I'm sorry, but I do have Lakers content because I do follow Lakers. I do cover Washington. So man, got some exciting good stuff going on. Got some awesome guests coming on. So you guys check me out.
Yeah, guys, definitely check Manny out. Love his work. He's obviously got great analysis and great thought process as well. So as you were able to witness here on this show, so definitely go check it out. And again, Manny, thank you very much, brother. And everyone have a good one. We are